Hi guys, Redneck Wannabe here. Hope all is well with you and your family today. It's just me. I took the day off, so I came out here to the farm just to get some stuff done. So it's just me. So I'm gonna try to get 2 videos out today. So if this one is pretty shaky, sorry about that. It's just me, so bear with me. But we're gonna talk about something that I saw on YouTube. You have either or, and so we're going to talk about the pros and cons of a well versus a cistern. And so if you look on YouTube, you see either A for a cistern or B for a well, but you don't really see anybody, or I didn't see anybody anyway, compare pros and cons. And so that's what I'm going to try to do today. This is by no means comprehensive. I'm no expert by any stretch of the imagination, but this is just what I found. So from my perspective, in a perfect world, you would want a well. If you don't have water, you have nothing, basically. You know, droughts or whatever. If you just don't have water, you're sunk. So let's go through the pros and cons. I wrote myself a little notepad or notebook so I wouldn't forget anything. But obviously, cost. I'm sure the cost varies from place to place in the country. Here it's $25 a foot, and that's a lot, you know, or for me anyway. So if I'm going to get a well, I'm going to have to save up for a while to get a well. So cost, number one, or I would think in most places in the country, a well is going to be the most. Now you can also do, I'm trying to stay out of the shade. So you can also do some IBC totes. I bought these for, I want to say $300 a piece, and I've had them for a couple years. So, you know, a well, unlimited, cistern, you know, you are limited, but the cost is definitely lower. Now, one thing on the cost, let's see. Let's go back a little bit, and hopefully I can't tell, but when I put those in March or April, I believe, it's rained a lot, and so those settled. So I don't know if you can see very well, but that they have settled. So you want to add maybe a platform or something like that for those cisterns, just because that will add to your cost as well. Now, what I had planned was I was just going to get like some 2x12s or something like that and build, sorry, I'm trying to, I was going to build basically a square, and then I was going to put some crushed gravel in there and just tap it down. That way, number one, it raises it up a little bit to give it some more water pressure, but also just to reduce the settling. So if you're going to do something like that, you know, that's going to add some cost to it as well. So I guess let me backtrack. I'm looking at either a well or a cistern, and what I'm looking at is buying about 1,000-gallon big black poly thing. And so if I did that, I would swap those out for that big tank, and I would use those for a backup. You can also use 55-gallon drums. I know I bought some from feed store for, I want to say $30-35, something like that. I know a long time ago there was a food manufacturer that had a bazillion of those, and if I would have been smart, I would have bought them, but I didn't. So you can even try some food manufacturers as well. So that's cost. I would say you know, the cistern wins on that one. So hygiene, I think a well obviously is more hygienic. That, if you can see it. Now I do need to spray that black, but you know, you've got mold, insects, bird droppings from the roof. You've got a lot of stuff that you're going to have to sterilize that to drink it. Now, obviously, if you want to use it for your garden, no big deal. But hygiene, I think the well has that one. Labor, the well, I don't have any labor. You know, I just pay somebody because I don't have the equipment. So I just pay them. They do it. I don't have to do anything. For a cistern, you've got labor. Now, for mine, oops, sorry guys, I have You can, I don't know if you can see that very well, but you've got the rain gutter that I've got going down there. If I did a cistern, I would want to redo all of these gutters, and so I would probably get like some PVC pipe, 4-inch, 6-inch, something like that, and I would try to direct all the water over to the cistern. So obviously you've got a lot of labor and cost there. Weather, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. With if you have a drought, we haven't had rain for 6 weeks, something like that, and man, the ground is it's parched, it's toast. So if my family of 5 were here right now, that may do it over the last couple months. Probably not, but you're very dependent obviously on a cistern with the weather. So if you're in a rainy climate or a temperate climate where it rains quite often, that may be your best bet. For here in Texas, if I were down closer to the coast, maybe, but up here, that may work. 1,000, 1,500 gallons. Thero is at 5 gallons per person per day, so 25 gallons a day. So 1,000 gallons, that would last us a while. But what if we have a bad drought? We're up the creek. Electric or a catastrophe. Now, electric. If the electric goes out, your pump goes out. If your pump goes out, the only way that you can get water is if you hand crank, which I would ask those guys to put a hand crank on our well if we did that. So tornado, whatever, something happens to the electricity, you can't get water unless you pump or you have a backup generator on that well. Here, electricity goes out, no big deal. Tornado, that'd probably be a good thing because it'd fill your tanks up. You may have to deal with some of the damage afterwards. I would think a catastrophe, the cistern probably would win unless you've got a hand crank or a generator for a well. But I think, from my perspective, catastrophe, I would say cistern would win on that. Filter your water, definitely. On a well, you probably want to as well. The way I understand it, it's a lot of glyphosate and farm chemicals and fertilizers and stuff like that have leached down into the groundwater. So you'd probably want to filter that as well. I think both of them. So that's a draw right there. Space. The cistern will definitely take up more space. Depending on how many barrels you have, how many 55-gallon barrels, IBCs, whatever, that's going to take a lot more space than a well. A well pump, 5 by 5 maybe, so that's minimal. Now the placement on, I guess, both of these, you need flat ground for your cistern. Not so much the well, but you have to place the well away from, like if you have a septic system, I think it has to be 50 or 100 feet away, whether it's up or down. And one other thing that I just thought on labor, if I do a well, I think the well, sorry guys, this is tough. I don't know if I'm left-handed or right-handed this way. But the well, the way I understand it from talking to this guy, is it would be around the corner towards the front of the house. Now, if I want a spigot up there, I'm going to have to trench all the way up there and put a spigot with, I think PVC would probably work, but there's another IPC, or I don't know. There's another similar thing to PVC. So I don't know where I was going with that, but labor. So you're probably, I don't know, that may be a draw as well. And then running out, theoretically, You won't run out with a well, although you hear stories all the time of wells going dry, especially in droughts. So will a cistern go dry? Absolutely, especially if you have a real bad drought like we had, I think 4 or 5 years ago. Man, we didn't have rain for like almost 100 days, and it was hot. So if you didn't, and actually a lot of wells did go dry whenever we had that drought. So will you run out on a cistern? Yeah, depending on where you're at, you could most definitely run out. On a well, theoretically, no. So maintenance. On the IBCs, I'm gonna have to paint it every once in a while. I'll have to clean that thing out. Minimal maintenance. On a well and a well pump, I can't answer that question because I don't know the answer. I would think not much maintenance, but I don't know. I have a friend of mine that, well, as a matter of fact, it's the guy where Preston and I were fishing the other night. His well pump went out, but I want to say he's like 400 foot down, so he's got a pretty big pump. But his pump went out, and I think he was telling me the pump, he had like $4,000 for a pump. So at the level that I'm thinking of for a well, I don't think I'll need a pump that big, but that's maintenance. You have to take that into consideration. So I have exhausted my pros and cons that I know of for a water well versus a cistern. So I don't think there's anything else. I'm definitely not an expert on any of this, but these are just a few of the things that I found as I was, I'm still looking at it. I don't know, I want a well, but man, that's a lot of money. But yet on the other hand, I'm thinking if I do a cistern, the way I want to do it, I think that's going to be probably about 20% of the cost of a well. So, do I just save up? I don't know. I don't know what to do. So anyway, that's just some of the things I was thinking of. I hope that helps. Sorry for the quality of the recording. So I appreciate y'all. Y'all take care. Bye.